Alright, what's up, guys? So, I know I haven't been making videos recently, but I am here to talk about a very prevalent situation that is going on in this world right now. It's a topic that needs to be talked about, needs to be brought up, needs to be acknowledged because it is a huge problem in society, in this world. It always has been, and it just it needs to be spoken about. Okay, so I first want to just start off by saying, if you're a Christian and you really know Jesus and you call yourself a Christian, but you are racist or you're ignorant, just if you're a racist, then you need to check yourself. Check what you believe in. Check who Jesus is. And pray for yourself, because racism comes straight from Satan. It is complete hate, and we, as Christians, we have no room for hate. I just will never understand why people are racist. Why they think that skin color identifies someone and makes them less equal to you or to others. And I just will never understand it, and I will never agree with it, and I will never justify it. And neither will Jesus. I mean, that's that. Alright, so I have no plan for what I'm going to say. I'm just going off my head. These are my emotions. These are my opinions, and this is my perspective on what's going on. So I first want to start off with a Bible verse. Romans 12 verse 9. It says, "Love must be sincere, hate what is evil, cling to what is good." Now, God rarely tells us to hate something, but he specifically tells us to hate what is evil, and racism is evil. Like I said, it comes straight from the pits of hell. I hate racism. I hate what it has done to this country. But as a Christian, I will never hate a person, because as much as it is hard to not hate someone, we just need to realize we can't, and that we need to love and pray for them instead of hate them, because that's just not what we're here for. We're not here for judgment. We're not here for condemning someone. So we need to pray for them instead, that they find Jesus if they are racist, And I think that we forget that just because someone isn't blatantly racist doesn't mean they're not. There are levels to racism. And we need to acknowledge that and remember that, so that we can hold our peers accountable. Even if they're not blatantly racist, we can hold them accountable for their beliefs, because some people I do know personally have a little bit of racism in their heart, and we need to educate them. We need to talk to them, bring these things up, help them realize that racism, once again, is evil and not good. So I was raised in a white household. I was adopted when I was 1 from China, and now I'm here. I live in a white neighborhood. The middle school I went to was diverse, mainly white. I wouldn't say mainly white, it was diverse. And then the high school I went to, all girls, Catholic private high school, mostly white people. College I'm in, LSU, predominantly white institution, and I give so much credit to my parents and to my middle school for the way I was raised, for the beliefs that I have now, for the standards that I have now. Because once again, racism is taught, is not something you're born with. It is taught as a child, and as you get older, that it is something, like, you're not born racist, and I feel like people are ignorant to that, and we need to realize that as this society, this young society, I'm 20, that we can make a difference, When we have children, we can raise them the right way, to not look at anyone unequal because of their skin color, and that we are literally one race, and that's the human race, and people need to acknowledge that. So I want to talk about the protests, the rioting, the looting, once again, the hate that's going on social media. I personally do not agree with rioting, but I understand it. I understand that, the black community's tired, they're angry, and they need another way for them to be heard, because they've done these protests, these peaceful protests, and look where we are today. There's no other thing that they can do and that they feel like they can do. But once again, I don't agree with it, just because I feel like we should not, once again, use hate and anger, but use love and peace. And it's just hard in this situation to do that, because the government doesn't acknowledge what's going on. So that's my thing on that. And there's another Bible verse, Romans chapter 12, verse 19, it states, "Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, 'It is mine to avenge, I will repay, says the Lord.'" This Bible verse extremely helps me to not have hate in my heart for what's going on, because I know that God knows what's going on. He's listening. He knows what your heart stands for. He knows what's in your heart. And I promise you guys, I promise, God's wrath, his judgment, is so much more worse than mine. I promise you that. So much more. And so we need to remember that and let God take care of the punishing and the revenge and the wrath of God, that he will take care of it. He will take care of the people who just have hate in their heart. But as Christians, we need to remember that we need to pray for those that rather they stay with hate and evil, that they can come to know Jesus, be saved, come to know God, change their ways, have love, and admit that they were wrong. We need to use our prayers for that instead of praying that, they die or something like that. We should not be doing that. And we should just remember that God will judge them one day, and he will take action. And that's that. I want to leave that at that. So I went to an organization yesterday for LSU. It was put on by Black LSU, which is the black community of LSU, and it was very eye-opening, because personally I don't surround myself with people who are racist or who have those thoughts in their heads, just because I don't tolerate that. I don't understand it. And my close friends, we all acknowledge what it is. We know that it's not, it shouldn't be tolerated. Like, we just know that, we're all equal and things like that. And so I personally have never really first-handedly seen racism on LSU's campus, personally. But going to this event, hearing what black students have to say about LSU, it really made me feel, what's the word? Like, I am just, I can't think of the word. Hold on. I am disappointed. I am disappointed with LSU. I am disappointed with the students of LSU, because some of their stories just blew my mind, because it was blatant racism from LSU students to a black LSU student. Like a white, for example, one girl, this was back in 2016, she spoke about this. Her first day on LSU's campus, right? Excited to come to this great college, university. She's getting off the LSU bus to go to class. 2 white girls in a car drove by and screamed, "F you," and then the N-word. Like, racism is everywhere, and I just don't understand it. And that's where I and those who don't agree with it and we see it, we need to hold those students and peers accountable. We need to step into that situation and hold these people accountable for what they're doing. We can't let these things slide. That's not how things are going to change. If we want to see change, it has to start with ourselves. And we just need to educate, talk to, converse with others about this, because it's just something that can no longer be pushed away, denied, diminished, because racism and oppression and police brutality, it's real, and people live through this. And for those, including myself, who have forgotten, I wouldn't say forgotten, but just don't see racism as much and didn't realize it was this prevalent in today's society, we are privileged, because I can promise you, Black people feel racism every single day, feel oppression every single day. They're scared to see a cop who's driving by. Like, if they're not scared, that's privilege, and we need to use that privilege to help the Black community, because without Black people, y'all, this country is nothing. I promise you, Black people in the community are so powerful, and without them, the United States would be nothing. I don't know. And so I'm just really I don't even know how to put it in words. Police brutality has been going on for centuries and centuries, and because we have the internet and smartphones, we can finally record it and bring light to it. And we need to use this situation that we are in right now to change the country. Because I'm tired of racism. I bet you every single Black person's tired of it. They lived through it. I will never experience what they have to go through. And I understand that. But I feel for the community. I do. And this is the time for, like, people to just literally use their voice and speak up for what is right. I don't know what better time is there to do that, but I don't know. You know, I know a lot of people who haven't really spoken out about what's going on, and I get that, and I understand that we all go through situations differently, we react differently, but I mean, it's been a week since George Floyd was brutally executed and murdered on the street by those 4 police officers. It's been a week, and I just don't get why it's taking so long now for people to just voice up what they feel is right and what is right. You know, I've had some conversations with certain people who just haven't really spoken out, just because I wanted to see, like, what their perspective on it was. And you know, we're just at a point where, you know, you can't be quiet about something like this. You shouldn't be. I don't know. I just feel like we all need to use our voice for something that needs to be spoken about once again. And that's just me, but I also get that people don't feel the need to post about on social media for them to be actively standing with the Black community and rooting for them. But at the same time, I feel like if you have a platform, you need to use it for situations like this. But that's just me. Another thing with hate, you know, there's a lot of hate going on towards people. For instance, Drew Brees, he's getting a lot of controversy about his statement about the situation. You know, people who are Trump supporters, people who are racist. You know, there's just hate going back and forth between every single group of people, and I feel like we just shouldn't be hating. And I know it's hard to, it's human of us, but we need to reflect, talk to God. We need to vent and give our anger to God, because he'll take it away from us. He will use that and give us peace and love, and we just need to pray for everyone right now. Those who killed George Floyd, those who killed Breonna Taylor, those who are racist, those who are oppressing people for their skin color. We just need to pray for every single person, because me personally, I got no room in my heart for hate. I don't. That's just who I am. Don't get me wrong, I'm angry, I'm mad, I will never understand, I'm sad, like I'm tired that this is still a problem. Like, I don't get it, but I will never let anger, or I shouldn't let anger overwhelm me and take my heart over. Because once you hate someone, that takes a lot of mental and physical energy, I promise you guys. And we just need to focus that energy on continuing to fight for what is right rather than hate. So this next Bible verse is Ephesians 6 verse 10 through 18. I'm only read part of it. It says, "Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." I wanted to talk about this because, once again, as Christians, we need to be speaking about this. We need to be standing with the Black community. We need to be against racism, against social oppression, against the corrupt judicial system, against police brutality, because it is something that cannot continue. I just don't understand it. I will never understand it. But in these times, you know, we really need to be praying for God, or praying to God, and we need to be talking to Jesus, he knows all of our emotions, but we need to give them to him so he can take over and just fill us with his love and peace, because that's all we can do and we should do. And don't get me wrong, I don't understand police brutality. I don't understand the murders that happen because of police brutality. The cops who are guilty of murdering these Black people, I will never understand it. I will never justify it. I will never try to understand, but I pray for them. I will always pray for them, because they just don't have Jesus with them. They have hate in their heart, and that's something that we as Christians need to pray for, that they can come to know God and stop letting the devil take over, because that is the devil's work. I don't know what else to say, because I mean, I could go on, to be honest, about how wrong all of it is, and how we as Christians need to stay firm and continue to pray and continue to love. But these times, we're literally living through a revolution, and we need to make change. You know, just because you're one person, you feel like you can't make a big difference. You can. Stand up for what is right. Use your voice. Talk to people. Conversate. Bring up the topic with people.